Welcome, boys. Okay, in this video, we're going to be doing some work on the Lincoln Town Car. I'm actually going to record both these videos at once, but they're going to come out as their own thing. So, first order of business is going to be changing the transmission fluid in the town car. So I'm going to show you how to take your transmission pan and go from this to this. Note the drain plug in our new unit. And drain the fluid, and then refill it. So I'll go ahead and crawl underneath and start the draining process, and then we'll head on over to what we did with the pan.
Okay, boys. Now, when I did this procedure on the Crown Vic, I used those smaller yellow ramps, and I don't believe you guys can get under there to even see shit. But this time around, we remedied that. I think you can see something, maybe, because I use the yellow ramps to get more clearance. Even though there's not really a whole hell of a lot, there's maybe slightly more. So maybe you can see, maybe you can't. We're going to go ahead and bust these loose. They're 10mm. There is a shitload of them. So we're going to loosen the front and the rear. And then the game plan. I need an extension to get it in the rear, huh? Okay. Alright. I'll play your game. And what we want to do is get it to where it'll kind of sort of drain out the front a little into this pan. And then when we got as much as we're going to get, we can take the pan all the way down. It's also a little warm on my chin. You know, I don't remember this plate being in the way on the Crown Vic. Maybe it was. I don't recall it being there. Of course, this is when you're newer than the Crown Vic. I could have something to do with it. And we took a bath in it, of course. My glasses even took a bath in it. I'm going to wipe that off my face. I'll be back. Okay, boys, now I kind of cleaned my face up. So, I'll show you what we did. So, what you want to do is, see, there's not a lot of room between this plate and that when the pan's flush. That's why I have to get a skinny extension that already has a 10mm on it. And then you put it in here, slide it along, and then you'll be able to put your 10mm all the way on. So if you look in here, there's two 10mm on the back side of this pan. So what you want to do is loosen those two first, and then go from there along the side till you get to the front. Or you can take the ones completely out of the front and work your way back, however you want to do it from that point, but you should make sure the two in the back stay there. That way when the pan gives, sinks down, all this fluid will hopefully go into your pan as much as possible anyway, and then it'll hold itself in place with those two bolts, and then this kind of plate, when it pivots and kind of chills there at that angle. So we will go ahead now, and this will be the final time we have to take a bath in this stuff, so I'll go ahead and get my we'll hold this up, and then grab my 10, take the last two off, and then we'll get this pan out of here once and for all. And then we won't have this problem next time. We won't be taking a bath in it because we'll have a freaking drain plug. Okay, boys, with the pan completely removed, and me trying not to take a bath in this stuff as much as possible, there's our filter. I don't believe it's like the BMW. I don't think anything holds this in, other than like the little round gaskety kajigger. So we're going to go ahead and pull this off, and then that'll be it. I don't feel anything holding it in other than that. Fucking great. And unlike with the Crown Vic, pretty sure when I got the Crown Vic off, it actually the gasket came off. With this, of course, it didn't. So I'm gonna go need a new pair of gloves, and then I gotta get that freaking rubber thing out with a pick. Lovely. Alright.
Okay, so we got our pan out with however many quarts that is. Filter, I used my pick, a little orange hooky shaped pick, to get the plastical grommet thing that holds that neck into the bottom of the valve body. And as you can see, our orange thingamajig in there means I am the first person to open this up. That's our magnet. This gasket is reusable. So now we'll go ahead and cut over to, if you're doing this and you only have one Panther, we'll go ahead and show you how to, do that. Change this pan into a one with a drain plug, so you no longer have to take a bath in it, your transmission fluid anymore.
So we want a drain plug on that. This is the pan from my Ford, and we're going to use that. So I already have a Dorman pan on the Ford, which is why I have a drain plug built into it. This one I'm going to have to put a drain plug into it. So what we're going to do is drill our hole so we can put this guy through there and affix this nut on the other side, and then we'll Teflon tape it up, put any sort of like gasket material, what do you guys call that stuff, RTV, and then that'll seal that up. And then if we ever want to change the fluid and filter in the Lincoln again, we won't have to do the filter because we're going to do that today since we have to drop the pan, but we'll go ahead and be able to just undo that and then replace our fluid. So let's get to work. Okay, now the light quality probably sucks down here because we're in the basement, but not much I can do about it. What a nice clean hole. That's what he said. Okay, boys, hopefully you can see. So we got our hole drilled. I filed any burrs off with our small little files here. So now we're going to poke this through the hole. This little plastical nylon gaskety thing will keep it from oozing out of the outside. But I'm a fan of more is better. So we're going to do a little RTV. Although, I'm not sure if I should use red or gray. I don't know if it makes a fucking difference. They're both high temp. Who the fuck knows? We'll say not for use of head gas contact with gasoline. Transmission fluid isn't gasoline as far as I know. So we'll go ahead and just use the gray, I reckon. I got some metal bits on my fingers. Those will turn to cysts later if I don't dig them out. So we're going to push this in from the underside. Kind of RTV this a little. And then we can lock it in place. Our nut on the other side, which I'm guessing these are both going to end up being the same size then, right? Yeah, of course, they're both 19 mil. That's okay. I think once I get this into position enough, we can just torque it down with this. But we don't want it. What I don't want to have is this spinning later when I try to take this guy out, because this bottom one will be able to come out with an Allen key. But I'm thinking I'm going to Teflon tape it. And then just torque it in there and then call it a boom done. My Allen wrenches are upstairs, but that's okay. I'll Teflon it and torque it in. Okay. That'll sit like that. Not the prettiest job, but we'll beauty that up here momentarily. Get a 19mm wrench, hold that in place. Okay, boys, that's locked about as tight as I can get it. We'll clean some of our freaking goo off here. Looks like a pretty thin bead all the way around. So, it should have squished through the threads. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. Exactly where it needs to be. Guess we'll go upstairs then, get my Teflon tape and just kind of secure this thing in place, and then that'll be it. That way we won't have any leakage. And then this will sit on the front. So you can back it up the ramps, unscrew, boom, out it'll come. Alright boys, so we're in the kitchen now, which is the best place for a transmission pan. So this is the, had to use the SAE 3/16. That's what this little Allen key is. So we'll just take it out, give it a wee bit of Teflon tape, because I don't like leaks. I want to make damn sure this thing's going in the town car doesn't fucking leak. Because if it leaks, we're going to have to A, keep up on it all the time, and B, fucking redo it. And I don't feel like doing either of those. Alright, that should be good enough. It ain't gonna be much. We won't need a whole hell of a lot of it, I think. And we're doing it this way because we don't want to put too much torque. I want to go just enough till it stops, and no more. Right there is fine. Well, boom, done. So, alright. See you under the car.
Okay, boys, and then with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get back down to the car and install and everything. Now, you might be asking yourself, why'd you film this and publish this Tarantino style out of order? Well, I had the luxury of doing this the day before because I had a spare pan, because I put the Dorman one in the Crown Vic, and then this one is the Crown Vics. That's the Lincolns to the right here. So if you didn't have a spare pan, or you weren't using a Dorman pan, and your only option was to modify yours, you would have to do it in that order. You have to take the pan off, drain all the fluid, clean it out, and then put your drain plug in before reinstallation. So that's why we did it that way. That's where we're at. Now we're going to go ahead and put the filter back in the bottom of the transmission and put this pan in there.
And here's our new filter. It's at the bottom. Part will go towards the pan. It's at the top. Part that goes into the valve body, and then there's our little ring that's supposed to come off whenever you pull the old filter. So we'll go ahead and put a drip of transmission fluid around that ring, and then stuff it back in the transmission. Well, hopefully you guys can see something. So we lost 4 quarts, is what I was able to put back in a jug. We're going to go ahead and fill it with 4 quarts, but I suspect I dropped easily another freaking quart on the ground, so we'll start with 4 and we'll add the necessary in a 5th.
Okay, boys, and now that we're under the hood, as you can see, that is where we want to add our transmission fluid, Mercon 5, or V, if you're not into Roman numerals. So we'll go ahead and get our funnel shoved down there and add our 4 quarts. And then after that, we'll go ahead and start the engine, row through the gears, make sure we don't have any leaks, and then top off as necessary. Since we lost at least 4 quarts, probably slightly more, ended up on the ground. Alright, boys, and that's it. I just had to add an extra quart, well, not even a quart, a bottle of AT205, and that topped it off completely. So if you want to know how much transmission fluid you'll need, buy 5 quarts, because it's going to take 4 quarts and some change to completely top it off after your drain and refill with a filter change. I reckon you'd be right at probably 4 quarts if you just use the drain plug like what's on it now and do not change the filter and drop the whole pan. So, alright, boys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Peace.